Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, today I got a little something special for you that I hope you guys will enjoy. If you've followed the channel for a long time, there's no doubt you know who Ron Grundy is. He's a guy that I've actually had several videos that we've done with him, myself, as well as some videos that he has sent me in the past that I've posted out here on the site. And that's kind of what we got going on this week. So if you don't know who Ron is, Ron Grundy is a gentleman that actually worked for Kearney Trecker, who made milling machines. He went to work for them in the early 1960s, right after he got out of the Navy, and basically spent most of his career, I think he spent 30 years working for Kearney Trecker. He started out as a machine builder, basically as a scraper hand, building brand spanking new milling machines. And through the course of his career there, he actually worked in the rebuild department where they'd bring in old machines and rebuild them. He also worked in the parts department for a while. I think he actually ran the parts department for a while. But really just a lot of different jobs and a lot of different experiences working for K&T over the years. And when it comes to these old vintage K&T milling machines, there's really not many people out there that are alive that know them as well as Ron does. He is a true expert on the subject, and he's been a very valuable resource to me. I've been able to ask him questions and get information from him. He has a lot of information still about the company, a lot of documents, a lot of documentation, as well as even some parts for some K&T machinery that he has. So he's really been a very valuable resource for me. Over the last couple of years, Ron has actually shot a couple of little videos and sent them down to me, and then I've kind of hosted them here, posted them up on the site, and that's what we got for you today. He's actually going to be talking about one of the milling machines, a milling machine that a gentleman has up there that he's going to be talking a little bit about, that he actually was the style of machine that was being built when he first went to work for K&T back in the early 1960s. So if you're interested in this old machinery, hopefully you'll enjoy getting to hear a little bit of Ron share some of his wisdom about these old machines. Let's get in there and let Ron do the talking.
Good morning, everybody out there in machine land. I'm here today with Steve Krantz, and he's the owner of this beautiful little S12 Kearney Trecker milling machine. We're going to talk a little bit about the S12 today. A lot of you guys out there have the earlier models. You have a 2H, 2K. This machine in the 1960s, when I started at Kearney Trecker, this was the machine that we were building, was the 205 S12 and the 207 S12s. They were building the little SA, and they were building the S15s, which was the next size bigger than this machine. This machine actually kind of takes a place of say a 2K 3H. 3H I think was 7.5 horsepower or 7 horsepower. 2H usually is 5 horsepower, and then you get up into the 10 horsepower machines. But these machines replaced those earlier types of machines that were made during the war and up into the 1950s. When I started there, this was the bread and butter. So I'm here with Steve, and he's going to start the machine up for you and show you a couple features on it, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. Go ahead.
Yep. And this is a 307 S12.
Yeah, a 307 S12.
I will turn the phase converter on. American Rotary phase converter. Okay. Main power. When that first starts up, it's a little loud. Okay, and then it settles down and some of the noise goes away. I don't know why. And I currently have it on the vertical. Here, we can change the feed right here. This is inch per minute. So 9 inches per minute right there. And then This is wrapping.
Beautiful solid machine. I think the rapid traverse is right around 60 inches a minute. I'm not really sure.
That's speed. I can slow it down, speed it up, whatever you need.
Really sounds good. Of course, you can't hear anything, so it sounds good to me.
It's so nice to have rapid traverse on the knee because the knee on the up crank is really a workout. There's a lot of weight there. So.
Okay, shut her down.
Horizontal spindle?
Yeah, start the main drive spindle.
So this is the RAM switch here. Main spindle is on and it's in right hand. It'll go right or left hand, clockwise, counterclockwise. This is the speeds for that. So we're at 53 RPM. This is the pendant here. So 53 RPM is also.
Go the other direction.
Let's see something else.
There you go.
There it goes.
She should come out and shift.
Let's see here.
There you go.
295.
What's the feed range? I mean, the spindle speed range on this thing.
30 RPM to 2400
2400?
RPM.
Yeah. Okay. That's fairly high RPM for one.
924.
Okay. Sounds good. Better now. Yeah, the machine really sounds good. The spindle, the feed drives, all of that sounds good on this machine. One of the features of this machine compared to the older machine, the feed rates shift hydraulic. You've got hydraulic clutches in there that shift the feed rates, and the same with the spindle. There's all hydraulic shifting in there. It's quite a bit different than the old mechanical when you were shifting your 2K, you know, or your 2K has some mechanical, or some hydraulic, but you're shifting mostly mechanical.
Right.
And this one is all hydraulic. And the machine itself it's pretty hefty. It's what do we say, about 6,000 pounds, 6,500 pounds.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty hefty machine. But it's a nice, I mean, the features of this machine compared to some of the older ones, this machine has a motorized overarm where you don't have to worry about mounting your head on here, you know, with the drive gear, all that stuff. You've got this, and it swivels left to right, so you've got a lot of capacity. Now,
Yeah, you can crank the ram out on the side, loosen two nuts and crank the ram out. For
Yeah.
different,
you know,
different
this,
depth here, if you're when you're running the horizontal spindles for cutters,
yeah,
you want to adjust that out. Which brings us to another point where I'm actively on the hunt for the arbor support for this. I need to find an arbor support for the machine. It didn't come with one. Came with a little bit of tooling, but that was it. And really would like to find the arbor support.
yeah, the arbor support is kind of a triangular shape. and it fits on the dovetails here, and of course it runs off of the spindle with an arbor. Now these machines, when we built them, the top part here, the ram, all of this stuff it's still very much like your old machines. Everything is unitized. It's a unit type machine. That gearbox comes right straight out of there. The head comes right straight off of here. So it's all built in units, the same as the front distribution box. We were talking about that earlier. The front distribution box you can pull right out of the front here, work on your gears, whatever you have to do. There's some stuff you have to disconnect before you can pull it out of there, like the trip dogs and stuff. But these machines were built in a fashion where all of the units were in one area. The table, the saddle, all of these were built, they had benches lined up where they would build the saddle. They would put the table, stuff that you needed on there. They would build the distribution box. They'd build the speed box, which is underneath here that you can pull out your spindle speed box. That was all built separately. Then they would ship the column up to the assembly floor, just the column. So my job, when I first started there in the 60s, was scraping, and we started scraping with the top of the knee. The flat scrapers would scrape the top of the knee, they'd scrape the back of the knee, they'd scrape the column, okay? So everything was scraped flat before it went up to the assembly floor. So when it went up to the assembly floor, we'd have to scrape the geometries for this machine. Now this machine in particular was kind of unusual because when you started scraping the geometries, in other words, you'd have a test bar in here and you'd scrape, you want a 0, 0 across the table. You want, those types of geometries you'd have to maintain, so the machine would cut accurately. Now, when you started scraping and you take the knee would be separate. You'd have to scrape the guide plates on the back. You'd scrape and fit the guide plates on the back of this knee. You put the knee on, bolt the guide plates on, scrape the gib. All of this stuff was scraped in on the assembly floor when it was in bluing, and you pull it off of there, check your marking, and scrape the centers out. All this by hand, okay? So once you did that, you put the knee back on, put the table and saddle back on. You had scraped the bottom of the saddle, the top of the saddle. Now you got the table on, you put a square on it, and you run the squares. So you had to leave the table 1,500 low on the right side. So you leave it low on the right side and scrape it in 1,500 low. The front, you'd leave about 1,000 high. Because that motor down in the knee, when you started that up, it would heat everything up, okay? And it would bring it right up, hopefully it would bring it right up to 0. So when you put it all together, after we did all of the final scraping, and this puppy, you would be on the top of this column, and you'd scrape the top of the column, you'd slide this thing on, you'd clamp an indicator on there, then you'd run it out, 0 on the side, 0 on the top, and if it was off, you'd be scraping the top of this column one way or the other, to throw this thing and then side to side. And the clamp over here, see that clamp, it's bolts right here. That pulls it over, all right? So you clamp it, pull it over, give it a light clamp, pull it over, so you're riding on this dovetail. Now, if that geometry was off, you'd be scraping on the top of this column, to throw it one way or the other. And it's a real job. And then you'd have to scrape that clamp in, and the clamp is made out of steel. So this clamp, it wasn't cast iron, it's not cast iron. So that was really difficult to scrape if you had to throw that any one direction. And then you check all of the squares, with that. But it's a nice little machine. like I said, it's a 307, so it kind of replaced the number 3 machines, the old number 3 machines. And we were building these back in the 60s, probably shipping 35 or 40 of these every month, you know, so every day. And one of the guys, when I was talking about scraping earlier, I said I did this for 5 years, every day, nonstop. And he said, oh my God, 5 years, wax on, wax off. But we got paid piecework. So you had 27 hours. You got paid 27 hours to scrape this machine completely. Not, you got extra if it had one of these. They were pretty rare. This ram is pretty rare. I've only, in my whole career, overhauled, I think, one of these with the ram on it. Okay. And they made the S series with the ram, and they made the twin feed series with the ram, but they were fairly rare. And this was a expensive machine back in the day. I mean, it was a very expensive machine. And it's a beautiful machine today for fabrication work, you know, doing, I mean, onesie, twosies. It's not a production type machine. I've seen a lot of these in tool rooms around the country. Right. I go into a tool room, you know, where they're doing all kinds of different fixtures and making stuff like that. So, but beautiful little machine, and I've helped Steve a little bit get some of the stuff up and running.
Was it you were able to supply me with some parts that we needed for it?
Oh yeah, we have some. Also have some parts, and I have some parts for your older machines. So you guys, if you're looking for that stuff, when you get a hold of Keith, and we're gonna send this video to Keith Rucker, and we really appreciate him letting us use his platform for these videos. And a couple of the guys around the country, Greg Kopp, and that are really interested in doing this kind of stuff. And we've got a scraper out of Chicago by the name of Danny Shapiro, and he does some scraping work. So anybody looking for scraping work, not many guys around that do that anymore. And I'm at the age where I'm not doing it that much, you know.
Yeah, I saw him on Kyle Vanover's website or YouTube video. I mean, yeah.
Who, Danny Shapiro?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
He was working with Kyle, so.
Yeah, so
I haven't met either one of those guys, but look like they're doing some really good work. So.
Yeah, they came up last summer to my shop, and we did a scraping video and did all kinds of, and I think they learned a few things.
Oh, I'm sure they did. Yeah,
So,
for sure.
But anyways, thanks for watching the video, and thank Keith again, and that'll be about it.
All right, thank you.
Well, guys, hopefully you enjoyed that, and with that, that's going to be a wrap. As always, thanks so much for watching. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. Those thumbs up and comments are always greatly appreciated. Hit that bell icon up there to get notifications when new videos are posted. As always, a big, huge thank you to those who support the site financially through Patreon, PayPal, as well as through YouTube memberships. Really helps out a lot. And with that, guys, we're going to sign off. We'll get out of here. We'll catch you on the next video. Big thank you to Ron for sharing this information with us.